Stop what you're doing. Right now that I need you to think about something that's going to make you uncomfortable. Right at this moment, someone is using you. Someone is manipulating your decisions. Someone is playing a game with you where they're making the rules and you don't even know you're playing, your boss who smiles at meetings while blocking your promotion behind closed doors. That friend who asks for advice but secretly competes with everything you do. The family member who says they support you but celebrates quietly when you fail. You think I'm being paranoid? You think I'm being dark? No. I'm being realistic. Here's the brutal truth nobody wants to say out loud: the world is not a fair playground. It's a silent battlefield. And every single day, there are only two types of people. Those who understand the rules of power, and those who get destroyed by them. 500 years ago, a man named Niccolò Machiavelli watched this game play out in the most brutal ways possible. He saw kings murdered by their closest advisors. He watched generous rulers get overthrown by ruthless enemies. He witnessed good men lose everything while cunning men took the throne. And he wrote down exactly how power really works. Not how we wish it worked. Not the fairy tale version. The raw, unfiltered truth. Today, I'm going to show you his 21 forbidden laws. These aren't suggestions. These aren't motivational quotes. These are psychological weapons that have controlled human behavior for centuries, and by the end of this video, you're going to see every interaction in your life completely differently. Your coworkers. Your friends. Your family. Even strangers on the street. You'll start to notice the patterns. The manipulations. The power plays happening right in front of your eyes that you've been blind to your entire life. But here's what I need you to understand before we go any further. I'm not teaching you this so you can become a manipulator. I'm teaching you this so you stop being manipulated, because the people who don't understand these laws, they're the ones getting crushed. Losing opportunities. Having their energy drained. Getting betrayed and never knowing why. Knowledge is protection. And today, I'm giving you the shield you need to navigate this world without becoming someone's victim. Before we dive deep into these 21 laws, I need you to do something important. Subscribe to Deep Psyche Coded right now. This channel exists for one reason: to decode the brutal psychological truths that society doesn't want you to know. The uncomfortable realities about human nature, power dynamics, and strategic thinking. We don't do surface-level motivation here. We go deep. We go dark. We go real. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because what you're about to learn will change how you see everything. And drop this affirmation in the comments right now: I don't chase power. I become it. Let's begin. Law 1: never reveal your full hand. The moment someone knows everything about you, you've lost your power. Think about poker. The amateur player shows excitement when they get good cards and disappointment when they get bad ones. The professional? Their face reveals nothing. Life is the same game. Your strengths. If people know all of them, they'll copy them or find ways to neutralize them. Your weaknesses. If people discover them, they'll exploit them without mercy. Your plans. If people understand them, they'll block you before you even start. I learned this the hard way. Early in my career, I used to share everything. My goals. My strategies. My next moves. I thought transparency built trust. What it actually did was give my competitors a roadmap to destroy me. They knew what I was planning, so they got there first. They knew my weaknesses, so they attacked them. They knew my timeline, so they sabotaged me at critical moments. The most powerful people you know don't tell you their full story. They reveal carefully selected pieces that serve their interests. Steve Jobs didn't tell the world about the iPhone until it was ready to launch. Warren Buffett doesn't announce his investments before he makes them. Military strategists don't broadcast their battle plans. Why? Because mystery is power. When people can't fully read you, they can't fully control you. They have to respect you because they don't know your limits. They have to fear you because they don't know your weapons. Starting today, practice strategic silence. When someone asks about your plans, be vague. When they probe your weaknesses, redirect. When they try to map your entire personality, give them shadows instead of clarity. Reveal only what benefits you. Protect everything else like your life depends on it. Because in the game of power, it does. Law 2, emotional control is absolute power. Here's a test. Think about the last time you lost your temper at work or in a relationship. Did you win that situation? Or did you give the other person exactly what they wanted? The truth is brutal. The moment you lose control of your emotions, someone else gains control of you. Let me show you how this works. Someone insults you. You get angry and lash out. Now they know your trigger. They can pull it any time they want. You've just given them a remote control to your behavior. Someone betrays you. You show hurt and desperation. Now they know you're weak. They'll do it again because they've seen you can't effectively respond. Someone provokes you in a meeting. You react emotionally. Now everyone in that room sees you as unstable, regardless of whether you were right. Emotional reactions are information leaks. Every time you react, you're teaching people how to manipulate you. The powerful understand something that most people never learn: emotions are not meant to be displayed. They're meant to be processed internally and used strategically. Think about the calmest person you know. The one who never seems rattled. How do you feel around them? Probably a mix of respect and slight fear, right? That's because calm is threatening. When someone doesn't react to your provocations, you realize you have no power over them. And that creates an automatic psychological submission. That I'm not saying suppress your emotions completely. That's unhealthy and unsustainable. I'm saying master the timing and context of their expression. Feel anger. Process it privately. Then respond with calculated precision when you're ready. Feel hurt. Analyze it internally. Then decide if showing vulnerability serves your strategic interest in that specific moment. Feel fear. Acknowledge it to yourself. Then project confidence until you've actually built the strength to back it up. The world respects those who cannot be shaken. Practice becoming the rock in the river. The storm rages around you, but you remain untouched. Law 3, create dependency, not friendship. Let me ask you a direct question. At your job, are you liked or are you needed? There's a massive difference. And understanding this difference is the key to job security, respect, and power. Being liked is nice. Being needed is power. People fire their friends all the time. But they can't fire the person whose absence would break the entire system. Think about it. Your company might like 5 employees equally. But there's probably one person who has knowledge, connections, or skills that nobody else possesses. When budget cuts come, who survives? The indispensable one. This applies everywhere. In relationships. In friendships. In business. In family dynamics. The people who have power aren't necessarily the most charming. They're the ones who've made themselves irreplaceable. How do you do this? Become the solution to problems nobody else can solve. Learn skills others avoid. Build connections others don't have. Acquire knowledge that's rare and valuable. Control access to something important. Information. Resources. Networks. Processes. When you're the gatekeeper, people need your permission to move forward. Create systems that depend on you. The more your presence is woven into the fabric of operations, the harder it becomes to remove you without causing damage. But here's the critical insight: never make it obvious. The best dependency is invisible. People should need you without fully realizing how much. They should feel slightly uncomfortable when you're absent but not quite know why. Because once they consciously realize their dependency, some will resent it and try to break free. But unconscious dependency? That's permanent. You're not trying to trap people. You're trying to create value so significant that your presence becomes non-negotiable. And when you achieve that, you don't need to ask for respect, raises, or opportunities. They come to you because people can't afford to lose you. Law 4. Master the art of appearing. The world judges you based on what it sees, not who you are. This sounds shallow. It feels unfair. But it's absolutely true. Your boss doesn't know your heart. They see your visible results. Your friends don't know your intentions. They see your actions. The world doesn't care about your internal struggle. It only notices your external presentation. This means you must become strategic about how you appear in different contexts. At work, project competence, reliability, and subtle confidence. Even if you're learning or struggling internally, never appear lost or desperate. In negotiations, appear less interested than you actually are. The person who seems to care less usually gets better terms. In social situations, appear selective about who gets your time and energy. Scarcity increases your perceived value. With enemies, appear stronger than you feel. Weakness invites attack. Strength creates hesitation. This isn't being fake. This is understanding that different situations require different faces. You wouldn't wear the same clothes to a funeral and a party, right? Why would you wear the same emotional mask in every situation? The amateur has one face for all contexts. The master has a different presentation for each strategic need. Think about successful politicians. In public, they're confident and decisive. In private negotiations, they're flexible and compromising. With enemies, they're cold and unyielding. With allies, they're warm and generous. Are they being fake? No. They're being contextually appropriate. You already do this naturally in small ways. You speak differently to your boss than to your friends. You act differently with your parents than with strangers. You're just not doing it consciously and strategically enough. Starting today, before you enter any significant interaction, ask yourself, who do I need to appear to be in this situation to achieve my goal? Then become that version of yourself completely. Because in the game of power, perception creates reality faster than truth ever could. Law 5. Timing is the hidden weapon. Most people fail not because they make the wrong moves, but because they make them at the wrong time. A joke told too early falls flat. A confession made too soon destroys trust. An opportunity seized too late becomes someone else's victory. Power lives in timing. The same action performed at different moments produces completely different results. The same words spoken in different contexts carry opposite meanings. That I see this constantly in people's careers. Someone pitches a brilliant idea at the wrong moment when their boss is stressed or distracted. The idea gets rejected. 6 months later, someone else pitches the same idea when the timing is right. It gets approved and praised. Same idea. Different timing. Completely different outcome. So how do you master timing? First, learn to read the room. Before you make your move, assess the current emotional and political climate. Is this the right moment, or should you wait? Second, create the right conditions before you act. Don't just wait for perfect timing. Sometimes you need to manipulate circumstances to create the timing you need. Third, strike during moments of chaos or change. When systems are unstable, when people are distracted, when old structures are breaking down, these are windows of opportunity that don't exist during stable times. Fourth, know when to retreat. Sometimes the most powerful move is doing nothing. Letting a situation develop. Watching others exhaust themselves while you conserve energy. In combat, the skilled fighter knows that landing one precise strike at the perfect moment defeats 100 wild attacks at the wrong time. In life, one perfectly timed decision can change your entire trajectory. One perfectly timed conversation can shift a relationship. One perfectly timed investment can create wealth. The question isn't just, what should I do? The question is, when should I do it? Master timing and you won't need to work twice as hard. You'll work half as hard and get triple the results. Law 6. Your reputation is your fortress. Reputation is the invisible force that either opens doors or slams them in your face before you even arrive. Think about this: when someone new meets you, they've already formed opinions based on what they've heard. Your reputation walked into that room before your body did. This means you're constantly fighting two battles. The battle of your actual actions, and the battle of how those actions are perceived and remembered. Most people lose the reputation game because they don't even realize it's being played. They have one bad day, one public mistake, one moment of weakness, and suddenly they're labeled unreliable, emotional, unprofessional. And that label sticks far longer than the actual incident that created it. The powerful understand this deeply. They guard their reputation with paranoid intensity. They avoid petty conflicts that make them look small, even if they could win. Because winning an argument with a fool still makes you look like someone who argues with fools, they control narratives about themselves. When rumors spread, they don't panic. They either ignore what doesn't matter or strategically address what does before it grows. They make their successes visible while keeping their failures private. Not through dishonesty, but through strategic emphasis. They associate with people who enhance their reputation and distance themselves from those who damage it. Harsh? Yes. Necessary? Absolutely. Here's a specific tactic: always have someone else praise you instead of praising yourself. When you talk about your achievements, you sound arrogant. When someone else mentions them, you sound accomplished. Social proof is more powerful than self-promotion. Also, be extremely careful with your presence on social media and in public spaces. One viral moment of bad judgment can destroy years of carefully built reputation. Your reputation is like glass. It takes years to build, seconds to shatter, and even when you repair it, people can still see the cracks. Protect it. Curate it. Use it. Because in the modern world, your reputation is often more valuable than your actual skills. Law 7. Silence is a psychological weapon. Words are cheap. Everyone has them. Everyone uses them. Most people waste them. But silence? Silence is expensive. Silence is rare. Silence is powerful. When you speak constantly, you reveal your thoughts, expose your strategy, and give people ammunition to use against you. But when you master strategic silence, something fascinating happens: people become uncomfortable. They start filling the silence with their own words. And in doing so, they reveal far more than you ever would have. I use this technique in every negotiation. When someone makes an offer I don't like, I don't immediately counter. I just sit there. Silent. Looking at them. Within seconds, they start talking again. Justifying their offer. Revealing their flexibility. Sometimes even negotiating against themselves to fill the awkward space I've created. Silence forces others to expose themselves while you remain hidden. It works in arguments too. Someone attacks you verbally. Instead of defending or counterattacking, you just look at them calmly. Say nothing. The silence becomes heavier than any words you could have used. They feel their own words echoing back at them. They start doubting themselves. Sometimes they even apologize without you saying a single word. In power dynamics, the person who speaks first usually loses. They reveal their position, their desperation, their limits. The person who waits forces the other to show their hand first. Think about the most powerful people you've encountered. Do they dominate conversations with constant talking? Or do they speak rarely, but when they do, everyone listens? The answer is obvious: silence creates weight. It makes your words more valuable because they're scarce. It makes your presence more intimidating because people can't read what you're thinking. Practice this today. When someone asks you a provocative question, pause for 3 full seconds before responding. When someone attacks you, let the silence hang instead of immediately defending. Watch what happens. Watch them squirm. Watch them reveal. Watch them respect you more because you didn't take their bait. In a world of noise, the silent person becomes the most interesting person in the room. Law 8. Eliminate threats while they're small. Here's a pattern I see destroy people constantly: they notice a small problem. A minor betrayal. A slight disrespect. And they ignore it. It's not that bad. I don't want to overreact. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. 6 months later, that small problem has grown into a crisis that threatens everything they've built. Small threats grow into big threats. Always. Without exception. That coworker who takes credit for your ideas once. If you don't address it, they'll do it again. And again. Until they've stolen your entire career trajectory. That friend who disrespects your boundaries slightly. If you don't correct it, they'll push further. And further. Until the friendship is completely one-sided. That small rumor about your reputation. If you don't kill it immediately, it spreads. It mutates. It becomes common knowledge that isn't even true. The powerful understand something crucial: it's easier to crush a threat when it's weak than when it's strong. When someone first crosses you, they're testing. They're seeing if you notice. They're checking if you'll respond. Your reaction in that moment sets the precedent for everything that follows. That if you let it slide, you've just taught them that crossing you has no consequences. You've invited future violations. But if you address it immediately and firmly, you've taught them that even small transgressions against you carry a cost. Most won't try again. This doesn't mean being paranoid or aggressive. It means being vigilant and decisive. Notice the patterns. Recognize the tests. Respond proportionally but unmistakably. Sometimes all it takes is a direct conversation: I noticed you did X. That doesn't work for me. Don't do it again. Sometimes it means cutting someone out of your circle entirely before they can do real damage. Sometimes it means a subtle demonstration of power that reminds everyone of boundaries. The key is speed. Handle problems when they're manageable. Because if you wait until they're unmanageable, it's already too late. Law 9, strategic absence increases value, 15 to 1630. Constant availability kills respect. When you're always there, always responding, always available, people stop valuing your presence. You become background noise. Expected. Taken for granted, but the person who's selective about their availability? The person who disappears strategically? Their presence becomes an event. Think about exclusive restaurants. They don't stay open 24/7. They have limited hours. Reservations are hard to get. Does this hurt their reputation? No. It enhances it. Scarcity creates desire. You are the same. When you're always the first to respond to messages, people expect instant responses and get annoyed when you're slower. When you occasionally take days to respond, they understand you have priorities and respect your time more. When you attend every meeting, every event, every gathering, your absence goes unnoticed. When you're selective, your presence carries weight. I see this in personal relationships constantly. The person who's always available for their partner often gets taken for granted. The person who has their own life, their own interests, their own boundaries. They're pursued and valued. This isn't playing games. This is understanding human psychology. We value what's rare. We chase what retreats. We take for granted what's always available. Strategic absence serves 3 purposes. 1. It creates mystery and intrigue. When people don't know where you are or what you're doing, they think about you more. 2. It reveals who actually values you. When you disappear, you see who reaches out, who notices, who cares. This filters your relationships with brutal efficiency. 3. It gives you perspective. When you step back from situations, you see them more clearly. You make better decisions because you're not caught in the moment. This doesn't mean being unreliable or ghosting people randomly. It means being intentional about your presence. Choose when to be available and when to vanish. Make your presence feel like a privilege, not an expectation. Let absence remind people of your value. Because the moment you're always there, you stop being special. And in the game of power, being special is everything. Law 10, Turn opposition into advantage. You're going to have enemies. This is not a possibility. It's a guarantee. The moment you start rising, someone will resent it. The moment you start succeeding, someone will try to stop you. The moment you start standing out, someone will try to tear you down. Most people waste enormous energy fighting their enemies. Trying to prove them wrong. Trying to convert them. Trying to destroy them. The powerful do something completely different. They use their enemies as fuel. Every criticism is free market research showing you where people think you're vulnerable. Every attack reveals your enemy's strategy and weaknesses. Every attempt to stop you proves you're worth stopping. That I had a competitor once who spent years talking negatively about me. Spreading rumors. Trying to turn people against me. At first, it bothered me. Then I realized something, that he was advertising my name to everyone he talked to. He was making people curious about me. He was spending his time and energy focused on me while I focused on building. Within 3 years, I had far surpassed him. Not because I fought back, but because I let his obsession with me distract him while I worked. Your enemies serve several strategic purposes. They keep you sharp. Comfort makes you weak. Opposition makes you strategic. They advertise your importance. People only attack threats. If you have enemies, it means you matter. They reveal market dynamics. Understanding why someone opposes you teaches you about the game you're playing. They provide contrast. When you handle attacks with grace and your enemies look petty and obsessed, the contrast makes you look even better. The key is emotional detachment. Don't hate your enemies. Don't fear them. Use them. Let their doubt fuel your determination. Let their gossip spread your name. Let their attacks expose their own weaknesses. Let their existence push you to become even stronger. Then, when you've risen so far that they can't even reach you anymore, their continued attacks just make them look sad and irrelevant. That's the ultimate victory. Not destroying them, but making them destroy themselves through their own obsession with you. Law 11, never depend on anyone completely. Loyalty is beautiful in theory. In practice, it's the most fragile thing in human relationships. Today, someone swears they'll never betray you. Tomorrow, the right offer comes along and suddenly their principles become flexible. I'm not saying this to make you cynical. I'm saying this to make you realistic and therefore safer. The powerful never rely on loyalty alone. They create structural dependency that makes betrayal costly regardless of emotional allegiance. Here's the difference: emotional loyalty, I trust John because we're friends. Structural dependency, John's success is tied to mine. Betraying me would destroy his position. Which one is more reliable? Obviously the second. This doesn't mean you can't have genuine friendships or trust anyone. It means you don't build your security on trust alone. You build it on aligned incentives. Make sure the people around you benefit more from your success than from your failure. Make sure betraying you would cost them more than supporting you. In business, this might mean structuring deals where everyone's payout depends on collective success. In employment, it means being so valuable that losing you hurts the organization. In relationships, it means maintaining your own independence and options. Always have a backup plan. Never let one person, one client, one job, or one relationship control your entire stability. Never reveal everything to anyone. Even trusted allies should only know the parts of your strategy they need to know. Watch for signs of shifting loyalty. When someone's circumstances change, their loyalties often change with them. Be prepared. The goal isn't paranoid isolation. The goal is strategic self-reliance that lets you trust people without being destroyed if that trust is broken. Because trust is earned slowly and lost instantly. The wise person hopes for loyalty but builds their foundation on something more reliable: mutual interest and personal strength. Law 12, create calculated competition. When people feel completely secure in their position around you, they become lazy. Complacent. They stop trying to prove their value because they assume it's permanent. the powerful understand something counterintuitive: a little competition keeps people sharp and motivated. This doesn't mean being cruel or creating toxic environments. It means never letting anyone feel so secure that they stop performing at their best. In business, the best managers don't guarantee anyone's position. High performers know their role is safe, but only as long as they keep performing. This keeps standards high. In relationships, the partner who has options but chooses to stay is more engaged than the partner who feels like they have no other choice. In friendships, being someone people have to maintain effort to keep close to creates better friendships than being someone who accepts any level of treatment. How do you implement this without being manipulative? Be genuinely valuable and selective. When you're impressive enough that others could want your time and attention, the people who have it will naturally value it more, recognize and reward excellence. When you openly appreciate high performance, everyone around you understands what it takes to earn your favor. Never make anyone feel irreplaceable. Even your best people should understand that their position is maintained through continued value, not historical contribution. Maintain other options. Whether in business, employment, or relationships, the person with alternatives has power over the person without them. This might sound cold, but it's actually honest. The truth is that positions in your life should be earned and maintained, not assumed and taken for granted. The people who complain about this are usually the ones who want security without effort. The people who respect this are usually the ones who excel because they understand the game. Think about the teams, relationships, and organizations that become weak and dysfunctional. It's almost always because comfort killed hunger. Everyone became too secure, and security without accountability creates mediocrity. Law 13, control the narrative. Information is the most powerful resource in any conflict. Not money. Not force. Information. The person who controls what information flows, to whom, and when, controls reality itself. Because in human affairs, perception shapes behavior faster than truth ever could. This happens constantly in politics, business, and personal relationships. The same event can be framed as a triumph or a disaster depending on who tells the story and how they tell it. Successful people control their own narrative. They don't let others define them. They shape how they're perceived through strategic information management. When Steve Jobs returned to Apple, he didn't just fix the company. He controlled the narrative about the comeback. Every product launch was an event. Every success was amplified. Every failure was reframed as learning. When you master this law, you become powerful in several ways. You decide what people know about you. Share accomplishments strategically. Keep failures private unless sharing them serves a purpose. Control the story people tell about you. You can redirect attention. When something bad happens, you can't always fix it immediately. But you can shift focus to something else while you handle the problem privately. You can create alliances through selective information sharing. Give different people different pieces of information. See who leaks what. This reveals loyalty while you control overall understanding. You can neutralize enemies by controlling the facts. Before they spread a damaging story, you get the true version out first. Once the accurate narrative is established, their lies look like desperate attempts. The key is being first and being consistent. The first story people hear becomes the baseline. Everything after that is judged against it. This is why crisis management teams immediately release statements after incidents. They're not hiding. They're establishing the narrative before someone else does. In your personal life, this means being proactive about your reputation. Don't wait for rumors to spread. Set the record straight early. Don't let misunderstandings grow. Address them while they're small. Be the source people come to for truth about you. That way, when someone tries to spread lies, others will check with you first and realize they're being deceived. Law 14, cut ruthlessly, rebuild stronger. Most people fail not because they don't know what to do. They fail because they can't let go of what isn't working. Dead relationships. Bad habits. Toxic people. Failing strategies. Outdated beliefs. They hold on to these things because change is uncomfortable. Because cutting means admitting something isn't working. Because rebuilding requires effort. But the powerful understand, weakness that isn't removed spreads like disease. One bad employee poisons team morale. One toxic friend influences your entire social circle. One destructive habit undermines all your other efforts. You cannot build a strong life on a weak foundation. And you cannot have a strong foundation if you're unwilling to remove the weak parts. This requires brutal honesty with yourself. Look at your current relationships. Who drains your energy? Who brings drama but no value? Who takes but never gives? These people need to be cut or minimized. Look at your habits. What are you doing that's actively harming your progress? Not just failing to help, but actively causing damage. These need to be eliminated immediately. Look at your beliefs. What are you telling yourself that simply isn't true? What limiting stories are you carrying that keep you small? These need to be destroyed and replaced. Look at your commitments. What are you doing out of obligation that serves no purpose except wasting your time? These need to be ended or delegated. The process is simple but not easy. Identify the weakness. Be honest. Stop making excuses, cut it completely. Half measures don't work. You can't be a little bit free from a toxic person or a bad habit. Replace it with strength. Nature abhors a vacuum. Fill the space with something better immediately. Protect the new foundation. Don't let the old weakness creep back in through nostalgia or guilt. This isn't cruelty. This is self-preservation. And ironically, by cutting weak elements from your life, you often help those elements too. Sometimes people don't change until they face real consequences. The strongest structures are built by first demolishing everything that isn't solid. Your life is no different. Law 15, unpredictability is your shield. The moment someone can predict your every move, they control you. They know when to approach you and when to avoid you. They know what buttons to push and what rewards to offer. They know your patterns, your weaknesses, your rhythms. You've become a solved puzzle. And solved puzzles are boring and powerless. The powerful remain slightly unpredictable. Not chaotic or unstable, but strategic in their unpredictability. Think about the most dangerous competitors in any field. They don't follow patterns. You can't quite predict their next move. This forces opponents to waste energy on preparation for multiple scenarios instead of having a clear counter-strategy. In negotiations, the unpredictable person has leverage because the other side can't calculate reliable expectations. In relationships, the person who's slightly unpredictable keeps attention and interest. In leadership, unpredictability prevents enemies from planning effective attacks. How do you cultivate strategic unpredictability? Vary your routines. Don't always respond at the same speed. Don't always take the same approach. Don't always show up at the same times. Occasionally do the opposite of expectation. When people think you'll be aggressive, be calm. When they think you'll be patient, strike quickly. Keep them off balance. Don't telegraph your emotions. Sometimes smile when you're angry. Sometimes show concern when you're confident. Make your external presentation independent of your internal state. Change your standards unpredictably. Sometimes accept something you usually wouldn't. Sometimes reject something you usually would. Keep people guessing what it takes to satisfy you. Mix your communication patterns. Sometimes be very available. Sometimes disappear. Sometimes respond instantly. Sometimes take days. No consistent pattern means no reliable manipulation. The goal isn't to be random or unreliable in important commitments. The goal is to prevent people from fully mapping your decision-making process. When they can't predict you, they can't trap you. When they can't calculate you, they can't manipulate you. When they can't pattern match you, they can't control you. Mystery and unpredictability are close cousins. Both create the psychological space you need to operate with maximum freedom. Legacy and survival. Let's talk about what really matters in the end, how you'll be remembered and what you'll leave behind. History doesn't honor the merely nice. It honors those who survived, adapted, and turned their challenges into something meaningful. Think about this for a moment. Can you name 5 historically nice people? Probably not many. But you can easily name people who created lasting change, even if they weren't always pleasant. Steve Jobs was notoriously difficult. He was demanding, perfectionist, often harsh with employees. But he created products that changed how billions of people live and work. Winston Churchill was stubborn, domineering, and hard to work with. But he rallied Britain through its darkest hour and helped save democracy. These aren't excuses for cruelty. But they're examples of something crucial: impact matters more than likability. Now, I'm not saying you should be difficult or mean. What I'm saying is that being remembered for making a real difference is more valuable than being forgotten for being agreeable. Here's what most people don't understand about creating a meaningful legacy: you can't leave a positive mark on the world if you don't survive long enough to make one. And survival, in business, in relationships, in life, requires more than just being good. It requires being smart, strategic, and sometimes tough. The kindest people in the world can't help anyone if they get crushed by those who take advantage of them. The most generous people can't give anything if they give everything away too early. The most honest people can't speak truth if they get silenced. You have to survive first. Then you can thrive. Then you can create the legacy you want. This means protecting yourself so you can protect others, building yourself up so you can lift others up, getting strong so you can help the weak, becoming secure so you can provide security. It's not selfish. It's strategic. It's not cruel. It's careful. It's not abandoning goodness. It's preserving it so it can actually make a difference. Look at the people who create lasting positive change. They're not pushovers. They're not people pleasers. They're not afraid to say no, set boundaries, and make hard decisions. Bill Gates built one of the most successful companies in history, often through ruthless business tactics. Then he used that success to create one of the world's most impactful charitable foundations. Oprah Winfrey is incredibly generous, but she's also incredibly protective of her brand, her time, and her energy. She says no to thousands of requests to say yes to the right ones. They understand that being good isn't about being weak. It's about being powerful enough to choose goodness when and where it matters most. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." People misunderstand this quote constantly. They think he's advocating cruelty over kindness. He's not. What he's really saying is, respect matters more than affection. Impact matters more than popularity. Strength matters more than likability. You don't have to choose between being good and being strong. In fact, you shouldn't. You should be both. But if you had to choose, if circumstances force you to pick, choose strength first. Because strength gives you the power to be good when it actually counts. Weakness just makes you a victim, even with the best intentions. Think about it, a weak person with a good heart can't help anyone. A strong person with a good heart can change the world. So build your strength. Protect your resources. Develop your skills. Create your security. Not instead of being good, but as the foundation for being effectively good. Your legacy won't be determined by how many people liked you. It'll be determined by what you built, what you changed, and who you helped in meaningful ways. And you can't build anything meaningful if you let people tear you down. You can't change anything significant if you're too exhausted to act. You can't help anyone effectively if you haven't helped yourself first. This is the final brutal lesson: strategic goodness creates legacy. Blind goodness creates martyrdom. And martyrs, for all their sacrifice, rarely leave the world better than they found it. Type this if you're committed to building something that lasts: I build strength to create lasting impact. We've covered a lot of ground today. 7 brutal truths about how goodness can destroy you when it's not combined with strategy, awareness, and strength. Let me summarize what you've learned. First, unconditional goodness signals weakness. When you're always available, always kind, always willing to help, people don't respect you more. They respect you less. They see you as someone who can be exploited. Second, the more you give, the less it's valued. Repeated generosity creates expectation, not gratitude. Your kindness becomes invisible unless you're strategic about when and how you offer it. Third, perception matters as much as reality. The mask of virtue isn't about being fake. It's about understanding that you must control your image to maintain the respect necessary to do good. Fourth, your resources are finite. Unlimited kindness creates limited impact. You must protect your time, energy, and resources to remain capable of helping anyone, including yourself. Fifth, gratitude fades over time. Don't expect people to remember everything you've done for them. Each interaction stands on its own. Focus on the present, not the accumulated past. Sixth, results matter more than intentions. The world judges your outcomes, not your motives. Being nice without being effective is just comfortable, and comfort doesn't change anything. Seventh, legacy requires survival. You can't leave a positive mark on the world if you don't survive long enough to make one. Strength isn't the opposite of goodness. It's the foundation for effective goodness. Now, here's the most important question: what are you going to do with this knowledge? Are you going to keep being good in the old way, blindly, without boundaries, until it exhausts you and diminishes your ability to make real impact? Or are you going to start being good in a new way, strategically, effectively, powerfully? The choice is entirely yours. But now you have the knowledge to choose wisely. Machiavelli wasn't trying to make people evil. He was trying to wake people up to reality. He was saying, the world operates according to certain rules. You can pretend those rules don't exist and suffer the consequences, or you can understand them and navigate them successfully. I'm telling you the same thing today: goodness without strategy is the most dangerous trap you can fall into. It makes you vulnerable. It drains your resources. It creates expectations you can't sustain. And ultimately, it prevents you from creating the positive impact you genuinely want to make. But goodness with strategy, that becomes a weapon for positive change. It becomes a tool for creating real results. It becomes the foundation for a life and legacy that actually matters. You're not abandoning your values by being strategic. You're protecting your ability to live by those values effectively. You're not becoming cruel by setting boundaries. You're becoming sustainable. You're not being selfish by protecting your resources. You're being responsible. Before you leave this video, I want you to make a commitment. Not to me, but to yourself. Commit to being strategically good instead of blindly nice. Commit to creating impact instead of just feeling comfortable. Commit to building something that lasts instead of burning yourself out trying to please everyone. In a world full of wolves, don't be a sheep. Be a shepherd. Be someone who protects the flock not through weakness, but through wisdom, strategy, and strength. So here's my final question for you, the one that will determine everything that comes next. Will you let your goodness weaken you, or will you master it and turn it into power? The choice is yours. But now you have the knowledge to choose wisely. If this video opened your eyes to a truth you've been avoiding, if it challenged how you see goodness and power, if it made you uncomfortable in the best possible way, then you need to do 3 things right now. First, hit that like button. Not for me. For yourself. Because that simple action tells the algorithm to show this message to more people who need to hear it. You're not just liking a video. You're helping someone else break free from the trap of blind goodness. Second, subscribe to Deep Psyche Coded and turn on all notifications. This channel exists for one reason: to decode the brutal psychological truths that society hides from you. We don't do surface-level motivation here. We don't tell you what you want to hear. We tell you what you need to know. Every video on this channel is designed to pull back the curtain on human nature, power dynamics, and strategic thinking. To show you the game being played behind the game everyone sees. If you want to understand how the world really works, not how it should work, not how people pretend it works, but how it actually operates, then subscribe right now. Third, share this video with someone who needs it. You know who I'm talking about. That friend who keeps getting taken advantage of. That family member who gives everything and receives nothing. That coworker who works twice as hard but gets half the recognition, send them this video. It might be the wake-up call that changes their entire trajectory. And here's what I need you to understand: knowledge without action is just entertainment. You've spent the last 35 minutes learning something that most people will never understand. Now you have a choice. You can close this video, feel momentarily enlightened, then go back to being the same person making the same mistakes. Most people will choose this path. It's comfortable. It's familiar. It requires nothing. Or you can take what you've learned and actually implement it. You can start setting boundaries today. You can begin being strategically good instead of blindly nice. You can transform from someone who gets used into someone who creates real impact. The second path is uncomfortable. It requires change. It demands courage. But it's the only path that leads to actual power and genuine influence. Before you go, I want you to make a declaration. Not to me. To yourself. Drop this final affirmation in the comments right now: I master strategic goodness. I protect my energy. I create lasting impact. Type it out. Make it real. Make it a commitment, because words have power, especially when you declare them publicly. That comment is your line in the sand. It's you telling yourself and the world that from this moment forward, you're done being naive about how power works. You're not abandoning your values. You're not becoming cruel or selfish. You're becoming strategic, effective, powerful in service of what actually matters. Remember, goodness without strategy is the most dangerous trap you can fall into. But goodness with strategy, that becomes a weapon for positive change. A tool for creating real results. A foundation for a life and legacy that actually matters. Machiavelli wasn't teaching evil. He was teaching survival. He was saying, understand the rules of the game so you can play it successfully. Don't pretend the game doesn't exist and then act shocked when you lose. I'm telling you the same thing today: the world is not fair. People are not always good. Power dynamics exist whether you acknowledge them or not. The only question is whether you'll understand these realities well enough to navigate them successfully. Now you have the map. You understand the cost of blind goodness and the power of strategic virtue. You know why people exploit kindness and how to prevent it. You've learned the difference between being nice and being good. What you do with this knowledge will determine everything. This is Deep Psyche Coded, where we decode the mind and expose the truth. If you made it this far, you're serious about understanding power. You're not here for easy answers or comfortable lies. You're here for real knowledge that actually works in the real world. That means you're exactly the type of person this channel was built for. In our next video, we're going deeper into Machiavellian psychology. We're going to explore the hidden laws that control every human interaction. The rules that powerful people follow instinctively but most people never even notice. If you want to see how these patterns play out in negotiations, relationships, career advancement, and social dynamics, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. Because that video might be the most important one you watch all year. Until then, remember this: you are not weak for being good. You are weak for being good blindly. You are not strong for being cruel. You are strong for being strategically kind. You are not powerful because you dominate others. You are powerful because you master yourself. Choose strategic goodness. Protect your energy. Create lasting impact. I'll see you in the next video.